I'm going to tell you about coffee berry. It's going to be big, and it's big now with Sozo. And it's real fun, and it's the whole fruit as it comes off the bush or the tree of the coffee plant. Put some extra pizzazz in your life. It's healthy. There's extreme coffee nutrition in our whole coffee fruit products that is not present in a cup of coffee. It's absolutely new, and it's good for you. We've talked about some of the health benefits. It's generally recognized as safe. It's a provocative new beverage food category, loaded with antioxidants, pleasant taste, easy to incorporate in formulations, scientifically researched. And Sozo is the only MLM that is selling whole coffee fruit products. Whole Foods doesn't have a license to be using coffee berry coffee fruit products at this point. Let me clarify, there is no such thing as a coffee berry. Coffee is a drupe, meaning it's a cherry. So the right terminology would be coffee cherry or coffee fruit. Coffee berry is just the brand name, okay? So we're very carefully licensing this, and we've elected to protect Sozo in the MLM sector for this. It's grown from our dedicated plantations in Mexico. We have a plantation down there, but we've recently expanded. We also have one in India, where they're doing our technology specially for us. We know our world is coffee. It's the most consumed beverage other than water in the United States. Tea's a big competitor of the rest of the world, but coffee is huge. Over 350 million cups of coffee every day. You've heard a lot of this, and I'm going to breeze through some of it. But research is suggesting that components in the whole fruit may have benefit for helping to maintain healthy levels of blood glucose, managing healthy levels of reactive oxygen species, inflammatory markers in our bloodstream. And recently we've discovered that some of these compounds can modulate brain-derived neurotrophic factor in people, and we'll be talking about that. So until today, coffee growers picked the fruit, stripped it off from the seed, threw it away. It was garbage. It was considered industrial waste. What a waste. I'm going to show you the structure of coffee fruit. It's interesting to look at what is coffee fruit. The pulp on the outside surrounds the fruit, just like a Bing cherry. You go to Michigan, pick a cherry, looks pretty much the same, or a cranberry, except the cranberry doesn't have the seed in the center. That's the pulp. And then there's the mucilage just inside of the pulp. Then there is the hull. And finally, in the center is this green coffee seed or bean. Now, traditional coffee processing, as I mentioned, they're not interested in anything other than the seed. So they strip it all off, and they throw it away and either burn it or use it for fertilizer, and then just roast the seed. God bless them. I don't think I could live without that roasted seed. But they never thought of using the fruit because it rapidly deteriorates and acquires molds and nasty compounds called mycotoxins. And our technology made it possible to eliminate the possibility of the coffee fruit deteriorating. So it was an interesting invention. You'll notice that we say antioxidants, and I want to take a moment. The nutritional industry has gone wild on antioxidants. And they used a term called ORAC for years and years. And it's a test tube measure of the relative potential for foods to absorb reactive oxygen species or cancel them out. But it's a test tube test. And there really has been no biological validation in animals or people that just because something is high in antioxidants, that it will necessarily do anything in your body. We've been doing research, and we've discovered ways to measure reactive oxygen species in real time in our bloodstream, what are commonly called free radicals. And what we've been able to show is that coffee berry, along with some other materials, actually, when ingested, can modulate levels of free radicals in your blood. So what I'm talking about is putting some rubber to the road. There are a lot of, mangosteens out there and acais and you name it. It's the ORAC wars, the high antioxidants. But what can they tell you about what it actually does in your body? That's something that coffee berry, coffee fruit is one up on them. Here's an example of some of the compounds that you would find in coffee fruit, many of which you will not find in that cup of coffee. There's a beautiful picture of some coffee fruit. It's not been available to us until now. If you look at the ORAC, which I was sort of bad-mouthing before, although it's a useful measure to compare, you'll see that the ORAC of coffee fruit is about twice the closest competitor. Anyway, so what can you do with this coffee fruit? You can see it can go into all sorts of foods, beverages, desserts, you name it. I mean, you're only limited by your imagination. So coffee berry coffee fruit is a unique, provocative, new coffee category. It is the greatest coffee invention since freeze-dried coffee crystals. When did they do that? Like the 50s? So another picture of our plantation in Mexico. What exactly is coffee berry? I've covered that. It's a patented, branded technology and a line of clinically researched and tested ingredients, all based on the coffea plant. It's a green technology. This is kind of neat when you're talking to your people. Regular coffee production uses a lot of energy, and they strip away the fruit, makes a lot of mess, garbage, because they throw away the fruit. Traditionally, it would lay around and rot and leach into the water supplies, or they'd burn it, which would put carbons into the atmosphere, or they'd use it for fertilizer, which is a good idea. But coffee berry is green because we use the whole fruit. There's no waste. It's great for sustained agriculture. It provides opportunities for farmers who were crushed out of the coffee business when countries like Vietnam were dumping coffee into the market and driving the price down. A lot of guys started growing bananas. Said, I can't do coffee anymore, but this could provide new opportunities for them. It is generally recognized as safe. We have careful specifications for the manufacture of it. It's registered with the cosmetic registry as a legitimate cosmetic ingredient. So our products are patented throughout the world. You can see the countries. I'm not going to waste your time reading them. This was a long, drawn-out, and very expensive process. Coffee berry is a registered trademark in the U.S., throughout the world. It's been carefully studied. We know this fruit backwards and forwards, inside and out. We've done studies with the University of Glasgow in Scotland. We've published tox papers. We've worked with the USP, coming up with the pharmacopoeia, legitimate analytical methods to determine identity of coffee fruit. So we're trying to be the experts on coffee berry, coffee fruit. See a few of the things that we published. And here we were comparing differences in coffee fruit from China, India, Mexico, and that research goes on. We have another extension called Neurofactor, which has been shown to stimulate brain-derived neurotrophic factor in people, and that is still coffee fruit product. And I'm going to skim through this because we're going to be covering this a little bit more, but the bottom line is that we did 2 clinical studies in people on this material, and we were able to show that in an acute manner, it stimulates brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And what's very interesting, both studies have published now, we compared, this is a very important slide, I want you to see it. We compared the coffee fruit extract with a placebo. You need that for a good study. We compared it with chlorogenic acid alone because Dr. Oz is banging the drum about green coffee bean extract and chlorogenic acid. That's great. So we tested green coffee bean extract too. And we saw that the only statistically significant effect on brain-derived neurotrophic factor was from the whole coffee fruit extract. So, you know, you will get these questions. Well, why can't I just drink a cup of coffee? Or why can't I get this green coffee extract that's out there? Well, you can get it, but it's not going to work if you're interested in brain-derived neurotrophic factor. So we had 20 people in each group with a crossover study, and it came out great. Interestingly, we served people in the second study a cup of coffee. Nothing happened. So it's definitely something in the whole coffee fruit extract that doesn't exist anywhere else. So why is that important? Well, because BDNF is associated with learning, memory, alertness, mood, weight management, metabolism, appetite. And no other fruit or vegetable has been discovered that can modulate BDNF. There's nothing in the literature. Nothing. This year we're going to do 3 more studies, one on brain activity at the Pennington Institute. We're going to do brain scans to see how oxygen is transported into the brain, where the blood goes in the brain after ingestion of this material. We're going to do a cognition study with UCLA, seeing if it actually helps people think faster, retain short-term memory. And we'll report back to you on that. Mind, mood, and appetite, that's what we're looking at. So we have some information about comparing whole coffee fruit with green coffee beans, and I'm sure that the SOZO organization can get that to you because there are huge differences. And I just wanted to point out that there are many. Coffee fruit, coffee berry coffee fruit is patented and trademarked. There's all sorts of green coffee bean being made by others out there, and I really don't want to make too much about it except that people will ask you, and we'd like to arm you with the information. So that will be made available to you. So coffee berry is provocative. It's going to be a legend. It's got a story that, if told correctly, will move mountains. And if you look at the bottom, it will bring many new customers into the SOZO fold. Thanks, guys. I will see you this afternoon.
Just me, my maid. I made the move. Come up 2 hours late.